rise and shine. It's a brand new day with Mo and News. It's time to have your say. She's got the scoop, the stories, all the latest trends. Mo's got the news, let's hear it. My dear friends, from politics to showbiz, no story's too small. Mo covers it all. She's got the inside call, her voice so smooth, like honey in the summer sun. With Mo on the mic, you know the news is always fun. Mornings with Mo, the best newsy news in the world. With her style so classic and her stories unfurled, from morning till night, she's got us in the know. Turn on your radio, let Mo's newsy news flow.
Good morning, everyone. Someone has decided he did not get enough love last night because I kept him out of my room since he decided to have the Zoomies at 10 o'clock at night. So I was like, sir, you may have nope, not the keyboard. You may have your time running around like a crazy person, outside mom's room. Good morning, Wolfram. Thank you for doing all of the mod things. Good morning, Christine and Jedi Jess and Tammy. Good morning, Alice G and Taz and Greedy Bloke. Yep, yeah. Dingus was feeling unloved because I sent him out last night. And now he's like, well, you won't let me play in on the keyboard. I'm leaving. In our first news story, an infamous... What in the world am I showing? How did I get screen on screen? Y'all, I have no idea. Some days. All right, for the first actual real screen that we're supposed to be sharing, infamous LA cop turned unaliver's handgun pops up in an investigation of a $1 million Patek Philippe watch robbery in Beverly Hills. So I believe we all remember this particular officer. Yes, the LAPD officer who went on a just rampage. It was Screenception. I was like, what in the world is going on? Good morning, everyone. An infamous LA cop turned killer's handgun popped up during an investigation into a $1 million armed robbery in Beverly Hills. Two South American nationals, allegedly part of a gang targeting tourists in the Los Angeles area, were charged Tuesday with stealing a $1 million Patek Philippe watch from a man at Force Multiplier Point as he dined with his family on a patio of Beverly Wilshire Hotel on August the 10th, U.S. District Attorney's Central District Office of California reported. Prosecutors revealed that law enforcement was able to track down the location where the alleged perps were staying to an Airbnb. You know, maybe if you're going to crime, I guess rent an Airbnb. I don't know. Police then executed a search warrant at the property Saturday morning where they found a force multiplier that was registered to former Los Angeles Police Department officer Christopher Dorner. Dorner is notoriously known as the disgruntled former police officer who sparked a 9-day manhunt in 2013 when he shot down 4 people, including a fellow police officer, and wounded 3 others in targeted attacks. This incident ended with Dorner taking his own life, Dorner, after a force multiplier exchange with law enforcement at a cabin in the San Bernardino Mountains. Prior to his rampage, Dorner claimed that he was unfairly fired as an LAPD officer and vowed to take revenge against law enforcement officers in a bizarre manifesto he posted on his Facebook. Gosh, do you remember when people used to write things on Facebook and you paid attention? Those were the days. And I'm just kidding because all of my family is still on Facebook, and I'll look at family stuff, but if someone has a status or something, I don't really pay attention. I only go on Facebook to update family, do the, obligatory start of the year picture for all the, rest of the family that's on Facebook and not anything else. I am not sure, and I hope Canton doesn't get any ideas. Uh, Welcome to Wes in Bama, and I wish I could take credit, but I actually got the idea from Roanoke Gaming, so that was definitely his wording. I just chose to, uh, you know, to emulate someone is the best, form of flattery. So now, this Glock, a 45 caliber, once belonged to this killer cop, but was found tucked away inside the pillowcase when officers raided this party or this property for these particular robbers. So I do wonder how his, old force multiplier ended up with these robbers. It is unclear how the suspects came to be in possession of his firearm or if this firearm was used in the robbery of this. Who buys $1 million watch? I mean, listen, not to sound crass, but if that watch doesn't give you a hawk tuah, then I don't know why you're paying $1 million for it because bling doesn't do all that much for me. I say this though in full acknowledgement that if Sailor Moon had a watch come out, I would totally buy the hell out of it. So probably, it was probably sold at some point. I'm sure, civil asset forfeiture. But yeah, I'm just saying if this watch doesn't, like do your hair or I don't know, other services for you, give you a tube in, I I don't know why you're paying $1 million for it, but God bless you if you have $1 million to drop on a watch. Let's see here. Hours after searching the Airbnb, police conducted a traffic stop on a Chevrolet Equinox, during which the two suspects of the armed robbery, Jamir Mauricio Silvalda Salazar, 21, and Jesus Eduardo Perron Rojas, 19, were arrested. Starting your criminal career early. I wonder if there's like a pit pocket, apprenticeship program in these new cities. The SUV was linked to another armed robbery in Beverly Hills where they stole a $30,000 Rolex. We don't accept violent crime perpetrated by organized crime groups that exploit the freedoms of our country. I feel like any attorney working in LA or any, of under Gascon really can't make these statements without laughing. I mean, I don't know. I would just say that I don't think that LA has become more safe under, Attorney General or District Attorney Gascon. So there you go. If you have expensive watches, maybe don't go to California. In a treasure trove of artifacts found from Egypt's last dynasty has been found in 63 tombs. Now we're just waiting for the mummy's curse to return. Hopefully we get if the mummy does come, hopefully we get the Brendan Fraser version than the Tom Cruise version because that Tom Cruise movie must missed TV. A trove of artifacts from Egypt's last dynasty has been discovered in 63 tombs in the Nile Delta area, and experts are working to restore and classify the finds, an official with the country's antiquity authorities said Monday. The artifacts include gold pieces and jewelry dating to Egypt's late Ptolemaic periods, and some of the items could be displayed at one of the country's museums. A spokesperson for the Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities reported an Egyptian archaeological mission with the Supreme Council of Antiquities discovered the mud brick tombs in the Tel Adir necropolis in Damietta city in the Damietta governorate, the ministry said in a statement last month. Other items found in the area of the tombs include statues, funerary amulets, and pottery vessels containing 38 bronze coins dating to the Ptolemaic period. The Ptolemaic dynasty was Egypt's last before it became part of the Roman Empire. Well, I mean, you kind of try to date Caesar when he already has a wife, and then you throw him over for his general chicks. Just kidding. The dynasty was founded after 305 BC, after Alexander the Great of Macedonia took Egypt in 32 BC, and one of his generals, Ptolemy, became Ptolemy the First. Leadership was handed down through Ptolemy's descendants and ended with Cleopatra. Again, listen, I think history has taught us anything. Love triangles don't work. Love quadrangles, though, do make Fleetwood Mac pretty good, so have all the shenanigans you want. In a treasure find of another kind, only more crystalline, if you will, how in the actual Schnell? And I ask this as a person who hates celery. Why? Look, celery to me is gross celery water with dental floss. Change my mind. Celery is, unless it's in part of a soup, do not care for it. But more than 2,300 pounds of crystal method acting, stuff was found hidden in celery at a Georgia's farmer's market. So what's the code word? Like, I hate ants on a log? Celery was used to conceal more than 2,300 pounds of crystal that federal agents discovered in a truck at a farmer's market outside of Atlanta. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration, what the DA is calling one of the largest seizures of its kind. Agencies confiscated the, not street legal pharmaceuticals being delivered to the Atlanta State Farmers Market in Forest Park, authorities said at a Monday news conference. WAGA-TV reported. The agency had learned about a semi-trailer coming across the Mexican border, and agents tracked the drugs to the farmers market. I mean, so could you call that organic crystal? Just asking for a friend. I mean, is there a marketing opportunity, like handcrafted Etsy of crystal? Well, this is Mike's interpretation. This is Mike's crystal. And you can go over to Joe's crystal, but they don't use organic acetone like we do. Oh my God. It was contained in a cover load of celery. Murphy said it was hiding in the celery. Obviously, we threw the celery away. Well, that's what I generally do with celery if I'm not making a soup. But it didn't make it to the store. So we are not going to get. This is making me question Crystal Light. This celery might give you more energy than an energy drink, though. Oh my gosh. A Mexican citizen was arrested, and the Atlanta television station did report details about the suspects, and the charges were not immediately available Tuesday. Using produce to conceal, not street legal pharmaceuticals has become a frequent tactic of smugglers. I mean, at this point, do you even need to smuggle anything in? I have only no idea. In absolutely, could I get those of you on the volunteer assist Mr. Lord Chippy in waking up, because we have a couple volunteers for him today. We really, really do. NFLer Sierra Wood, I'm sure his name is not said like that. I don't know sports ball, and he's gross, so I don't have to say his name right. Was sentenced to life in the death of a 5-year-old. I hope, listen, Gen Pop justice happens, and let me think how I feel about that. I'm afraid that all of my Fs are locked away in this jar only to be opened if they remake The Labyrinth, where I will be in full F deficit. But right now I have no Fs to give that this man is going away to prison and may potentially have other inmates learn what he did to a 5-year-old. A former professional football player was sentenced Tuesday to prison in the April 2019 death of his girlfriend's 5-year-old daughter at his Las Vegas apartment. The sentencing came after Wood, a former NFL and Canadian Football League running back, reached a deal with prosecutors and pled guilty in April to second-degree murder and felony CA. Just awfulness to a child. Wood, 33, was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 10 years. Okay, we need to go get this prosecutor, because how do you sign a plea deal with a man who took away a child's potential? Y'all, this is why I can't be a judge, because right into the center of the sun or Snake Island. Y'all, I'm bringing back Hunger Games. They're all going to Snake Island. We, put it on pay-per-view, and whoever makes it out alive, you get to be king of Snake Island. Clark County District Court Judge Jacqueline Bluth also ordered him to serve between 28 months and 6 years for the CA charge. He must serve the sentences consecutively. Well, at least thank God for small miracles that you put another, 28 months in there. You really brought the hammer down. According to a copy of the plea agreement, prosecutors dismissed remaining felony counts of CA they had initially filed against Woods. He entered what is known as an Alford plea, a formal admission of guilt in a criminal court that allows the defendant to still claim innocence. The Associated Press did send an email to his lawyer seeking comment Tuesday. And we're not going to show him anymore, but this is the beautiful, precious angel who had her entire future lost because this absolute J-ass decided to. I realize I shortened the one part and then still said ass, but he's a donkey. Look, no, that's even mean to donkeys. He is the corroded trash water that gathers when, it rains outside and you have to leave your trash cans out. Woods played for the University of Notre Dame before brief NFL stints with 3 teams and the Montreal Alouettes in Canada. The Montreal Alouettes, Canada. What kind of team is that? Yeah, I'm going to go cheer for the Alouettes. And then next week, I'm going to go, cheer for the Pirouettes. Concrete. Court records show that the child's mother, Amy Taylor, 31, also pled guilty earlier this year to second-degree unaliving and felony CA as a part of a deal with prosecutors. It might be that they could not. Look, I get that there might not have been concrete evidence of what happened to this child, but the use of a plea deal on this type of case ticks me the heck off. Ticks me off. I do not like it. Absolutely, there should be no plea deals. These people should just be locked away in whatever conditions they left that child, and we forget about them. In my opinion, this is why I'm not in charge of anything, because I would go full Sith Lord. But I'd be a Sith for good. A 7-foot-long mammoth tusk was found in a Mississippi creek during a rare discovery. I mean, it's no noodling, but he did manage to catch something. Good morning, Peachy Peach. Eddie Templeton was wading through a rural Mississippi creek on one of his regular hunts for fossils when he made a mammoth discovery. The avid fossil collector saw a tusk sticking out of the bank of the creek in Madison County. Well, at least he didn't get any bridges in there. Otherwise, his wife might have been tempted to leave him for Dirty Harry. Meryl Streep, you made the wrong choice. Let's see here. knew it was likely from the last ice age and soon learned that he had found a fully intact tusk that once belonged to a Columbian mammoth. Probably two-thirds of it was showing. I thought, wow, this is a lot of tusk. He's like, Templeton told ABC News. As he dug it out, Templeton realized that the entire thing was still intact, which is fairly unusual given the amount of wear and tear that, most fossils will go through. The discovery of the intact mammoth tusk marks an extremely rare find for Mississippi, according to the Mississippi Department of Environmental Quality. Most fossil tusk ivory found around the state are just fragments, and most are likely attributed to the more common mastodon. The massive Columbian mammoth, a proboscidean related to the modern elephant, lived during the Pleistocene epoch and could grow to be 15 feet at the shoulder and weigh over 10 tons. The discovery of the tusk is the first of its kind for the area, which, according to the Mississippi Environment Department, which said that mammoths are far less common finds in Mississippi as they were more open grassland grazers and would have been at home in only a few select environments, particularly in the prairie regions of Mississippi. Templeton said he was initially disappointed by the conditions of the creek due to high water at the time. He'd only been out for about 30 minutes on the morning of August 3rd when he found the tusk while searching the bank for fossils. He sent a photo of the tusk to geologists who work for the state and George Phillips, the paleontology curator of the Mississippi Museum of Natural Science in Jackson. Based on the curvature, the tusk was suspected to be from a Columbian mammoth because, this thing almost comes full circle, the curvature of it, Templeton said. I'd never found an entire mastodon tusk, but I'd found pretty big pieces. So that is really cool. I do like that more people are taking up, finding fossils. It's no longer the, just the place where, graduate students or things like that. I think I've done a couple stories where kids have found, new fossils. And I know my sons go out to our creek. It's more like a runoff, drainage thing, and they're always excited to show me the rocks that they've found and things like that. So maybe that's why its horns were curled, to get it to make a better, vehicle to get its nose all the way along things. Oh. Oh, Lord. I'm glad everyone else makes the jokes because I'm over here giggling to myself, not making jokes, and you guys are making them in the chat. Good morning, giggles. This chick is not a mother. We excommunicate her from that group, and she's no longer a lady. By the power vested in me as having not 5 children. I have 6 children. 6 children, you are excommunicated from the Lady and Mother Club. You are simply a female now who gave birth. Quote, Mommy was driving fast. Mother fleeing deputies abandoned 5 children. Yes, that is 5, including 2 infants, in an SUV that she drove into a ditch during a chase. Well, I mean, at least you got your eyebrows and your hair balayaged. We wouldn't want you to not look pretty for your mug shot. Ugh. Jennifer Delgado, 32, a Texas woman, is facing criminal charges after police said they found a total of 5 children, including 2 infants, abandoned in her car that was found in a small ditch after a police chase. The chase took place on August 11th around 8:45 p.m. and began in McClellan County after responding to a report of a domestic disturbance at a property on Martin Drive, according to Fox affiliate KWKT. A couple could be heard loudly fighting, and witnesses would later call the police to inform them that one of the people they believed involved in the fight had wrecked their vehicle in front of a home and fled the scene in that vehicle. Texas CBS affiliate KWTX reported the sheriff soon spotted the vehicle allegedly driven by Delgado hurtling along Bob Johnson Road in China Springs. An officer turned on his police lights and sirens in an attempt to stop the woman, but she did not respond. Officers said she took off instead down China Spring Road until police were briefly forced to end their pursuit. Sheriffs said they stopped the chase upon realizing that Delgado had several children in the car that could be seen through windows. Shortly after this, sheriff said a deputy spotted Delgado's maroon Ford SUV in a small ditch, the car now off of East Cougar Lane, and it didn't contain Delgado. Instead, Deputy Audio Coffee, how do you feel about incubator? Because I'm okay with, I think birth giver just adds more respect because birth is hard. But I think incubator, you're basically a vessel. And I think I'm okay with labeling her that. Watch me get charged in the UK. Did you label someone an incubator? Yes, yes, I did. Feel free to come to rural Indiana and bring my ass to the UK. I've always wanted to see Harry Potter and Katie Hopkins. Let's see here. So they approached the car and instead of finding the driver, they found 3 children and 2 infants. The children's car seats in the second row of the vehicle, but it was unclear if any or all of the children were strapped in at this point. The car was turned off when the cops found it, and so were the lights. All of the children were assessed by emergency medical responders. Police reportedly noted one of the child said that their arm hurt, while another one said that their head was hurting. 3 of the children stated their mommy was driving fast, and an affidavit reportedly disclosed. Police said they received a call about Delgado after the crash that helped them locate her. A witness described seeing a 32-year-old woman in her backyard freaking out while saying she needed to return to her SUV. Delgado was arrested and booked into McClellan County Jail on August the 10th, but a review of publicly available jail records no longer list her as an inmate. She was charged with abandoning, endangering a child, evading arrest or detention, and fleeing from a police officer. Have a wonderful day yourself too, Fraudit Wrangler. And if you guys haven't seen Katie Hopkins' ode to Rachel Reagan, you need to see it because that woman has better dance moves, and I think she will effectively represent Australia should breakdancing ever come back to the Olympics. Well, looks like Maui judges are going after creditor or insurers who are trying to lowball the wildfire settlement. So a Maui judge ruling bars insurers from going after defendants who agreed to a $4 billion wildfire settlement. A Maui judge ruling Tuesday resolves a critical roadblock to finalizing a $4 billion wildfire settlement. Insurance companies who have paid out more than $2 billion in claims can seek reimbursement only from settlement amount. Defendants who victims blame for causing the deadly tragedy have already agreed to pay. Lawyers representing plaintiffs in hundreds of lawsuits over the death and destruction caused by the fires asked the judge to bar insurers from bringing independent legal action to recoup the money paid to policyholders. Preventing insurers from going after defendants is the key settlement term. The settlement was reached earlier this month, days before the 1-year anniversary of the fires, amid fears that Hawaii Electric, the power company that some blame for sparking the blaze, could be on the brink of bankruptcy. Other defendants include Maui County and large landowners. The Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms is investigating the August 8th, 2023 fires that killed 102 people and destroyed the historic downtown area of Lahaina, burning thousands of homes and displacing 12,000 people. Plaintiff lawyers were worried allowing insurance to pursue reimbursement separately could be a deal breaker. Drain what is available to pay fire victims and lead to prolonged litigation. A group of more than 160 property and casualty insurers have so far paid more than $2.34 billion to people and businesses devastated by the fires, remain as holdouts to the settlement. Jesse Creed, an attorney serving one of the four liaisons for the coordination of the plaintiff's lawsuit, told Cahill the insurers want to get court judgments for enormous damages and leave a carcass for plaintiffs. Insurer lawyers argued in court filings that what they called a rush to push through settlement deprives insurers of their due process. The insurance industry has been unfairly villainized as outsiders taking resources from the community while those responsible for the fires won't be held accountable. Vince Rabutu, an attorney representing the insurers, told the judge. Good morning, Mountain Homestead. We're not arguing to be the first in line or anything. It's always been our position that individual plaintiffs should get the lion's share. So basically, what's happening here is that the insurers would like to go after the electrical company, the people that most people generally blame for this fire. So the insurance company would basically sue the electrical company, and then individuals would be able to sue the electric company. But the electric company is allegedly close to insolvency just because of all of the lawsuits that they have originally already gotten. So what people are wanting to make sure is that the insurance companies can't go after the electric company before the actual victims do. The insurers would like to recoup some of the payouts that they've had to pay from the electric company. And the actual victims are like, hey, before you get your bite at the apple of this, money, then go ahead and let us, the actual people that lost everything, lost family members, go after these people. I think that that's fairly good. I think that the optics of how Hawaii, the government, has handled this entire thing have been terrible. And this might be something that was, in an effort. I'm sure the judge followed the law, but this might be something in an effort to make better optics. That's my only guess on this. I'm not a lawyer, but I do think that the insurers are trying to jump ahead of the line to make sure that they get their money back, which is kind of gross if you ask me, but that's me. Well, Down Periscope was a funny movie, but I didn't think it happened in real life, but that would be me being silly because it is 2024, the year of our clown. Nuclear submarine captain fired after a smexy video claims surface. I mean, I don't know how you would get amorous in a sub where I'm sure it smells like feet and Doritos. But, to each their own. Some people like funky smells. A nuclear submarine captain has allegedly been fired for making a hub video while in command and sharing a steamy clip with a junior sailor aboard. The decorated Royal Navy officer, who has reportedly met with Britain's Princess Anne, was accused of sending graphic selfies, according to reports in the UK. The male officer, who has not been named, was said to oversee a Vanguard-class nuclear submarine armed with Trident 2 missiles. He had reportedly moved to a desk job when the incidents were reported, and an investigation was launched. The Sun reports that the captain was sacked after the Navy's zero-tolerance policy for sexually unacceptable behavior. He is said to have been one of the youngest officers to captain a Vanguard-class submarine. I'm sure 4chan will know his name in like 2.5 seconds. Again, if I get the presidential, office, I'm making 4chan part of our intelligence community. And I'm kicking out a couple of the others. Yeah, maybe not the guy. Maybe we don't want Van Wilder in charge of our nuke subs. I don't know. One of 4 Royal Navy nuclear submarines is in service around the clock in case of attack. Quote, all forms of unacceptable behavior are taken extremely seriously, and anything which falls short of the highest standards will not be tolerated. Anyone who is found culpable will be held accountable for their actions, regardless of their rank or status, a spokesperson told the Navy. Well, I mean, I guess he can always get he can always join the hub. I'm sure there are plenty of, officer and a gentleman sort of things that he could do. I mean, I'd be okay. In another Hawaii story, uh, holy fazoli's, a Hawaiian man was arrested after his fingerprints were found on tape holding together a homemade Go Boom device. Always wear gloves if you're going to make, an improvised device, because they will look at those things. If they have to call the guy out in the big, Go Boom suit, they will be investigating. A Hawaiian man was arrested Tuesday after his fingerprints were found on tape holding together an explosive device found near an elementary school, according to authorities. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Hawaii said 47-year-old Robert Francis Durman of Kaluhu or Kalui, look, somewhere in Maui, appeared in U.S. District Court before U.S. Magistrate Judge Kenneth J. Mansfield after his arrest on charges of possessing an unregistered destructive device. Can you imagine the DMV if you had to register these things? Yes, number 42, come here. Okay, what I would like to tell you is that I'm not going to tell you the numbers, but I got like a bunch of them Molotovs and a couple improvised things, and I would just like to register and be a card carrying, person. I mean, where would you go to register one of these devices? I just giggle because I can only imagine that, someone has called into the ATF and said, "Hey, just, for giggles, where do I register this device I made with a bunch of fireworks?" A criminal complaint alleges that on July 23rd, 2024, officers with the Maui Police Department encountered an IED near Lano Avenue near an elementary school. It contained explosive powder, a battery, and shrapnel. The investigation discovered Duramon's fingerprints were allegedly on the packing tape used to build this device. If convicted, he faces up to 10 years in prison for possessing an unregistered destructive device and a minimum of 5 years in prison or up for the explosives charge. While Durman has not been charged with additional crimes, the detonation of IEDs near Kamana Street in Kailua on August 7th, an explosion of an IED that damaged a vehicle in another town on August 8th were mentioned in the affidavit. Oh, interesting. Thank you for the information, Fraudit Wrangler. That is a good thing to know. I mean, not look, y'all, okay, I didn't fail. I passed chemistry with a C, which was like failing for me. Mo will be in no, and I'm afraid of fireworks. I just imagine every single one of my kids blowing something off of them, and I just don't know. I have seen my wild feral boys. I am not giving them anything that explodorates. So it looks like there have been a rash of these going along. So I would not be shocked if this gentleman doesn't get more charges if they can link him to either the kind of method that was used to create these IEDs or get more compelling evidence that he was probably behind these. Generally, when you have people like the Unabomber and different people, there are signatures to these sort of devices. So I do think that he will be getting more charges. I mean, it doesn't take Stevie Wonders to, line up these dots, but I could be correct on this. In another one for Snake Island and or coming to a door near you to sell you a Kirby vacuum cleaner. Welcome to the Church of Mo, Jariah. Congratulations. We have dark chocolate and sarcasm, but we do ask that you leave your audio assault weapons. Those would be plastic recorders at home. Those things are terrible and horrible and bad. All Now, I do want to say one thing. This particular gentleman I am circling here is how every single gosh darn Kirby vacuum salesperson, or, I need to sell you some magazines to go on my college tour, looks at me. And I look at them and I ask them quite distinctly, does your parole officer know that you're out and about? Because I swear to goodness, this is how every single Kirby vacuum, door-to-door salesperson looks, and I'm surprised that Kirby has sold one vacuum, because 'cause I'm not letting this dude in my house. They're always like, "Let me come in and show you how this vacuum works." I'm like, "Do I look like I am at the start of a Lifetime movie? That would be a no, friendo." Also, I am not becoming an accessory after the fact, so whatever you have, stay out of my house. An archaeologist was fatally carjacked in a Best Buy parking lot by a recently released parolee who also robbed an Arby's and a bank at Force Multiplier Point. Some people should just not be allowed out. Some people cannot function, will never live near the zip code of do right. Given all the opportunities in the world, they will still choose wrong. Why can we not, you know, just put them on an island and be left alone with the rest of humanity that, can generally people okay? Again, reason number 11D12, I am not in charge of anything. A man who was released from a New Mexico prison in March allegedly went on a days-long crime spree that included unaliving an 83-year-old man in a Best Buy parking lot and robbing a bank, also an Arby's while he was at it. It all began around 2 p.m. on July 31st when 38-year-old Zachary Ryan Babbitts, still wearing his GPS ankle monitor, robbed a Wells Fargo in Albuquerque, according to police. Babbitts then allegedly cut off his ankle monitor and headed to Santa Fe, where he robbed and murdered Gordon Wilson, 83, around 10:30 a.m. on August the 6th in a parking lot of Best Buy. Here's the thing. This is, again, we are becoming a society where these things happen in broad daylight. No one wants this. We have given chance after chance after chance to people who go out and choose wrong. And the real issue with this, the real heartbreaking thing I find is that we've lost an 83-year-old man who was just going to Best Buy and doing something. But also the bigger picture, you could have sold so many of us. I'm conservatarian, I belong to no party, but I do line up more conservative and more take personal responsibility. You could have sold 97%, no, okay, 83% of us on criminal justice reform. We don't want kids to, ruin their life because they had a little bit of the devil's lettuce. We don't want, people who have maybe made bad choices but are working to fix their life to be forever penalized for one bad choice. But criminal justice reform has been used to get the guys like this who go out to commit crime after crime after crime. And you have turned so many people off actual criminal justice reform that don't be surprised if we go back to 3 strikes, you're out. I want no crying and whining when people get really tired and we go back to 3 strikes, you're out. Because the pendulum is not going to swing halfway. It is going to swing all the way back. And we're never going to fix the problem. We had a chance. Jariah, yeah. And I am sick to death. I have full compassion fatigue for criminals. I really do. I I am sorry you had a rough life. I am sorry that bad things happened to you, but so did they happen to, 93% of the rest of the population. And, we don't take our pain out on others. So learn how to human like that or GTFO and Snake Island. Mo's getting angrier as her Zycam is not working. Babbitts then stole Wilson's car and drove away. So this former archaeologist, this man who has benefited science, probably taught young minds, is left, just lying in a parking lot, and we have to deal with tattooed man over here. On Thursday, Santa Fe cops identified Babbitts as the suspect and issued an arrest warrant for murder, robbery, and a felon in possession of a firearm. But Babbitt's alleged crime spree continued. He and a woman allegedly walked into an Arby's in Las Cruces around 6:30 p.m., where he pointed a gun at employees and demanded the money. After running away, the couple allegedly forced a woman out of her vehicle and sped away, but quickly crashed and ran. Cops arrested Babbitts, but the woman escaped. Babbitts is at the Donna Ana County Detention Center without bond, waiting extradition back to Santa Fe. After police in Santa Fe identified Babbitts as the suspect in the murder, Albuquerque cops were able to tie him to the Wells Fargo bank robbery. They went to Babbitts' home where they found the vehicle that Babbitts allegedly used to rob the bank. Babbitts faces charges of armed robbery and tampering with evidence in that case. According to New Mexico's Department of Corrections, Babbitts was sentenced to 23 years in 2019 for robbery and receiving transferred stolen motor vehicles. However, a judge suspended all but 10 years of that prison term and gave him credit for the 173 days he already served. He also earned 30 days of good time credit per month, which led to his release from prison on March 12th with 2 years of parole, followed by 5 years of probation. This is a gentleman who should never have been out. He shouldn't have been on the streets right now. He was sentenced to what I understand to be 20 years. He was put on parole and released early. He cut off his ankle monitor and immediately began wreaking havoc. I mean, absolutely, I don't get this. That's kind of where I'm going right now. And I feel bad because I want everyone to be able to be redeemed. But the older I get, the more I realize redemption is a choice and you have to actually earn it. And I'm getting a little tired for people that excuse things rather than, earn things. But that's just me. If you would ever wanted to know why you like spicy food, science may have an answer for that. Why are humans drawn to extremely spicy or sour foods, even if they hurt? Well, I was just going to say we're all secret masochists, but I'm sure science has a better explanation than we all just enjoy pain a little bit. When 36-year-old Nelson Cheney was little, he began eating spicy peppers and sauces to impress his dad. Years later, he still consumes these foods, only now for his 1.1 million followers on TikTok. Cheney, known by his social media handle, Craving Capsaicin, a nod to the chemical compound that gives chili peppers their heat, got hooked on the adrenaline rush he feels when he eats extremely spicy food. For me, it's a way of life, Cheney said. I love chasing that endorphin dump. I love the feeling when I beat a challenge and get all pumped up. It's kind of like winning a race. I've never felt that when I eat Tabasco or Texas Pete, but okay. Scientists say he's not the only one. Whether it's the spice they seek or the fiery or acidic or sour, humans can be drawn to perceived dangers of extreme foods. Like watching a horror movie, the experience stimulates a fight or flight response during which the brain is releasing endorphins and dopamine hormones that make people feel good. After the brain determines everything is safe, there's a sense of accomplishment in overcoming a dangerous situation. You know, we come from a generation that jumped on U-boats and went and fought for, the American way and freedom, and my generation, we eat spicy foods. This is why I do not claim being a millennial. I am a genlennial. I am much closer to the Gen X zeitgeist and therefore reject my millennialness. These challenges are really drawing people in who have the psychological affinity, sensation-seeking, reward-seeking types of behavior. So the more dangerous it is, the more thrilling it is. Elisa Trucco, director of research on adolescent and child health lab at Florida International University, stated, both sour and spicy foods generate painful responses, though they activate different nerves in the body. When saliva breaks down spicy food, capsaicin travels to the throat, nose, and esophagus, which activates nerves involved in the sense of touch, said Robert Pellegrino, a postdoctorate fellow at Monell Chemical Senses Center in Philadelphia. The ensuing pain is similar to touching a hot stove. You can feel the spice everywhere. On the other hand, sourness activates more taste nerves. When people eat sour food, the body initiates a pain reaction because it detects an acidic substance that could be harmful if ingested. In both cases, the brain can override the initial pain reaction. Paul Rosen, a professor of psychology at the University of Pennsylvania, attributes this override to humans' ability to differentiate between serious and benign pain. Eating moderate amounts of spice is generally safe, he said, but even so, the body treats it as a health threat. That's where the pleasure comes from the fact you're overriding your body's signal not to do this. In addition, people often film these food challenges on social media, which triggers a similar dopamine release because it's designed to positively reinforce our behavior through likes and follows. I think a lot of it has to do with status, the popularity, and the feedback you get from other people. Trucco said Cheney, a metal sheet worker by day, said he enjoys the community he has created online, which he views as a result of his passion for growing and eating peppers. I've got so many people that went from not eating any hot stuff to having a tolerance and now eating spicy food daily, so it's cool people are joining with me. Well, there you go. If you want to feel better about yourself, maybe eat a jalapeno and get those endorphin rushes, because I will tell you guys, I have off and on tried running for 20 years and I've never gotten a runner's high. So you might just want to eat a pepper and get the same experience and not have to do running. In a kind of cool story, and possibly the only reason I would visit New York City, a leaky fire hydrant puddle has transformed into a viral goldfish pond. No, I don't. So, oh, okay. And New York is getting ready to try to fix this hydrant. I say we keep the outdoor fountain of, the sidewalk. A puddle found around a leaky fire hydrant in New York City neighborhood was converted into a makeshift goldfish pond, and now some residents want to make it permanent. The hydrant, located at Bedford and Sylvant neighborhood of Brooklyn, has been dubbed the Bed-Stuy Goldfish Pond after resident Quajon Irving and his friends releasing goldfish into the puddle. The puddle has be, or the pond has become a local landmark and a viral curiosity. Neighbors have come together to take care of the fish. Everyone takes a turn, neighbor Ken Gardner told WNBC TV. Did you feed the fish? Did you check on the fish? The Department of Environmental Protection has repeatedly shut off the hydrant, but Irving and his friends reopen it to ensure the fish don't lose their home. It's imperative that our DEP operations team be allowed to fix this hydrant. There's a real safety concern with damage for leaking hydrants. It can impact the availability of water for fire emergencies. It can also impact water pressure and cause supply issues for the neighborhood. We love goldfish also, but we know there's a better home for them than on the sidewalk, the DEP said in a statement. Oh, you're back. Have you done your wanderings, sir? He's like, I would just like to get on this keyboard. If you would let me play with the keyboard, I would be very happy with you, Mom. The fish loving neighborhood started a GoFundMe to raise money to give the goldfish a permanent outdoor home in the neighborhood. The crowdfunding page says the money will be used for fish food, a ventilation system to keep the water fish friendly year round. Floyd Washington, who worked with Irving to create the goldfish habitat, said the contingency plans have been made to distribute the goldfish among neighborhood children if the city has it permanently shut down. We understand that in a case of emergency that the fire hydrant may have to be used, but we try to keep it low. That way the fish is good, Washington told CBS News. So there you go. If you would like to go see, a sidewalk pond, and possibly the only reason I would go to visit New York other than the bagels and pizza, I would definitely go see this sidewalk pond. And just for Zach, if you are in the chat, I decided to put a grammar article in. There is an apostrophe battle brewing among grammar nerds. Is it Harris with the apostrophe at the end after the S, or is it Harris's campaign? Things that would have never occurred to me to be upset about for 500, Alex, because I am a grammar and spelling outlaw. Zach knows this. Whatever possessed Vice President Kamala Harris to pick Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her running mate, it probably wasn't a desire to inflame arguments about apostrophes, but it doesn't take much to get grammar nerds fired up. The lower the stakes, the bigger the fight, said Ron Wolshin, a creative director and digital marketer in California who jumped into the fray on social media less than an hour after Harris selected Watts last week to offer his take on the possessive proper nouns. The Associated Press style book says use only an apostrophe for singular proper names ending in S, like Dickens' novel. So Dickens, the apostrophe would be at the end of the S or after the S, that kind of thing. But not everyone agrees. The debate about the possessive proper names ending in S started soon after President Joe Biden cleared the way for Harris to run last month. Is it Harris with the apostrophe after the S, or Harris with an apostrophe and then an S added on to the end? But the selection of Waltz with his name sounds like it ends with a S surname really ramped it up, said Benjamin Dreyer, a retired copy chief at Random House and author of Dyer's English, an utterly correct guide to clarity and style. Dyer was inundated with questions within minutes of the announcement, which is while he was at the dentist. Okay, who in the hell is bothering this man to ask where an apostrophe goes? It has never bothered me in any way where an apostrophe goes that I would actually contact another person out of the ether to ask them about an apostrophe. I mean, call me crazy. I was like, all right, everyone has to chill. I'll be home in a little while and I can get to my desk. While there is widespread agreement that Waltz, with the addition of apostrophe S is correct, confusion persists about, where the apostrophe is supposed to go in Harris. And his verdict is that you add the apostrophe and the S. To set the, apostrophe S is just simpler. Then you can take all your valuable brain cells and apply them to more important things. I love it. He, in the kindest way, said, "Get off my lawn. I don't care." Wolshin chimed in with a similar option on social platform X, where apostrophes are being thrown out like hand grenades. The rule is simple. If you say the S, spell the S, he argued. That's what puts them on the same side as the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journals, and at odds with the Associated Press. While the Associated Press style has evolved on many fronts over the years, there are no immediate plans to change guidance on possessives. Well, I mean, I I know all tens of people that were really worried about this now have clarity. Nanya, that is because that is the dumbest rule with like 970,000 exceptions. Exceptions. You know, it's like I before E except after C, but here are the 143 words that doesn't work on. This is why Mo was never a good speller. Good morning, Miss Tom. Timothy Puljo, a senior lecturer in linguistics at Dartmouth College, said until the 17th or 18th century, the possessive of proper names ending in S, such as Jesus or Moses, was awfully simply the name itself with no apostrophe or additional S. Eventually, the apostrophe was added after the S to denote possession, though the pronunciation remained the same. That became kind of the standard that I was taught and adhered to, even though in retrospect, I don't think it's a great standard. That's because linguistics view writing as a representation of speech, and speech has changed since then. He does say he expects the, apostrophe S form to become dominant eventually, but for now, he, along with Merriam Webster's dictionary, says either way is acceptable. Never go on the internet and try to convince someone that, either thing is acceptable. You will get attacked from both sides. You have to pick a side on the internet. As long as people are communicating successfully, we say that language is doing what it's supposed to be doing, he said. If you can read it, whichever way it's written, then it seems to be working for people. They're not getting confused about whose running mate Tim Waltz is. Well, there you go. Unfortunately for you grammar nerds, people are like, we don't care. In fact, half of us don't know what an apostrophe is. I'm just kidding. I do know what apostrophe is. But that was our last story for this morning. I will be starting up our speed watch of the Michael Jackson Blano trial. And I am probably mispronouncing that gentleman's second last name, his double barreled name. But he is the gentleman that was on trial for unaliving the prominent Jewish female leader in Detroit. I did a story about him earlier this week on how the jury was deadlocked on several of his more major charges. So I did want to watch that. It seemed like one that we could get through fairly quickly. And it did kind of get buried because it was right around the Karen Reed trial. So I figured we could watch that one while we're waiting for the nuclear dumpster fire in the middle of a Sharknado with lasers that the Sarah Boone and Richard Allen cases are going to be. So I will be back in about 30 minutes to start that, so please join me. I know that there are current trials going on, and we do know the end to this one, so if you want to be on replay crew, that is fine. One additional thing of housekeeping, tonight is date night, so there will be no nightly newsy news. So please feel free to join for the trial if you have some free time, and I will see you guys for more newsy news in the morning tomorrow. So bye, guys. I'm going to go maybe put on a wig. Who knows? Y'all know. We don't know what we're doing or rotate laundry. My life is very glamorous. Bye, you guys.